you sent around the sign-in sheet? All right. Yeah. All right. Now, I realized I didn't do problem 1 last week. But before we get started, I thought I would ask, are there any questions from the materials that were online? First of all, do you have any problems getting a hold of the videos? Do you have any problems with Kali exercises, posting the fact that you did them? If you have technical problems, come see me, and after class, and we'll talk about it, okay? But the seating chart should be going around. If the first week's assignment, there's no deadline on. There was no deadline for today, but if you're having tech problems, I'll wait. All right. So, videos were good. You can hear everything. And thank you. I'll take the very subdued response as a yes, whatever, and that will be fine. Okay. So we didn't do problem 1 last week. And problem 1 is about whether or not, let's see, problem 1's at the end of chapter 2. And the question asked is, Honest John sold Nancy debts and used the car for $900 to be paid off in 3 payments. The contract was oral. Nancy missed the second payment, and one of Honest John's employees repossessed the car and returned it to the seller. Nancy sued Honest John for conversion. Who should win? Let's just take a quick look at that first problem before we move on. I'm happy to allow volunteers for this first problem, but I will call on people if necessary. Take a second to review it. Start out the ads. What's the problem if you don't have a security interest? That's the essence of what this question is asking.
Should we have gotten a judgment and then taken back to the sheriff and have the sheriff come to repossess it?
That's exactly what you should have done, okay? So if you don't have a security interest, you are an unsecured creditor, which means that you have to engage the system by bringing a lawsuit and winning the lawsuit, getting a judgment on the person, and then levying on that judgment, getting an order of attachment, and then having the sheriff write it. If you don't do that as an unsecured creditor, what are the consequences, do you think? And how are you in trouble? When you take someone's car without permission, what's that called? Theft. Grand theft, right? Or whatever we call it. Grand theft, and not the game. This is the real thing. So it's a felony. It's a felony. You don't have a security interest, and you try to collect using self-help repossession. And that's what we call it when you go to the debtor's house and you try to take their stuff. If it's an attempted self-help repossession and you don't have a security interest, that is illegal. You are then guilty of a crime. That crime is theft. It's a felony because it's worth, I don't know, does anybody know what the difference between misdemeanor and felony theft is in Kentucky? $500, something like that? It's pretty low, actually. So, bad choices all around. Okay? So that's the purpose of that question. Just understand that the reason you get a security interest is that it engages a whole set of other rules that allow you to do things that are illegal if you don't have that security interest. And here, repossession, that's going to be a problem. Keeps doing that. I thought it was solstice. Okay. All right. So let's talk about scope and start working the problems. Actually, I'm just going to, that's just easier. Everybody should have prepared. You all know that this is coming. We're going to do a lot of problems. So a lot of people are going to get to speak, so hopefully this won't make anybody too anxious, and we'll just work through them, okay? Sound good? All right. And if I ruin your name, sorry. And if I forget your name, sorry. Both of those things are likely to happen. Terrible things. I go to parties and meet people, and the very first thing my brain does to me is it makes me forget that person's name. They will look me in the eye and say, hi, my name is Bob Jones, and I will go 2 seconds later, who are you? It's that bad, really. Okay, so, Taylor Bacchus, hello.
I think she dropped this one.
Oh, see, I have an old list, so I guess we will just not hold her to answering that question. All right, how about Nathan Bearden? All right, let's work through problem 2, all right? So,
I think she dropped this one.
oh, see, I have an old list, so I guess we will just not hold her to answering that question. All right, how about Nathan Bearden? All right, let's work through problem 2, all right? So we're on the scope section. Why do we care about scope before we get into the problem?
Just to see which type of transactions will be covered by the number.
Okay, so let's work through this problem together. Describe it to me and tell me what your conclusions are.
Okay, so basically, there's a state statute that gives Mr. Baker or Max Garage a lien, artisan lien, on the bill. And so the first question basically asks if Max artisan needs to write down security interest, and my conclusion would be no, because Article 9 doesn't apply to statutory liens. And the second question basically.
All right, so let's stop right there. What section of the statute says that?
Let's say. I'm assuming it's D2 since that's where it says.
Perfect. And so what does D2 say to us?
It says a lien other than agricultural lien given by statute or other rule of law.
There you go. So why do you think this is important?
Well, just we already determined that scope is important, so determining that statutory liens not covered by Article 9 is
Exactly. And if a statutory lien isn't covered, what does that mean in terms of the analysis we're going to do if we have a statutory lien?
basically if we see a statutory lien, we know we want to go through the Article 9 steps.
That is perfect. That is exactly what we're talking about now. We will find later in the semester when we talk about priority, we do have to worry about the relative rights of the parties, and Article 9 may kick in there. But for what you do to get your lien, what the lien means, how much, what the value of it is, all that, separate statute. So that statute, because it's what we call mechanics lien, Article 9 doesn't interface with it. We know that because of D2. So we don't have to worry about any of the Article 9. Okay, now you were continuing. What's the second part of this?
Okay, so the second part asks if Mr. Baker had signed a statement saying giving Max the right to distribute because the proper bill isn't paid, and if that would create a security interest, and it would because of 919A1.
And explain that to me. Let's work through that. So 919A1, what part of that language makes it a security
That
transaction?
contract portion. So basically, if the transaction is created like the contract creates the security interest in dealing with personal property, like a transaction.
All right, and we saw, I think if we look at the comments to 9109, I think the very first comment, it says, here, right? Oh, that's right, this is less line. Okay. What, How do we commonly refer to these kinds of transactions when someone says, hey, I'll give you a security? What do we call it? If you look at the comment. As to which transactions give rise, the definition must be consulted when, sorry, the sentence before that. Under subsection A1, what kind of liens?
All consensual securities.
Again, coming back to this idea that you have to voluntarily enter into it in order for it to be a transaction covered by Article 9. And if you voluntarily enter into a transaction which creates a security interest, it's consensual lien, it is covered by Article 9. Okay? Same car, or same collateral, same parties, two different results based on how they interacted. With the statute, was there any agreement?
Yes, there was an agreement that wasn't consensual, it was mandatory.
Okay, well in fact, one of the things that we have to understand with statutory liens and mechanics liens is there doesn't need to be an agreement. It's the mere fact that the person does the work that creates the mechanics lien. So the statute that we have in this case says if you do this work, you get a lien on the collateral. You don't have to, the debtor doesn't have to agree. It just happens. It's by operation of law. And that's what makes it non-consensual. It's automatic. When we levy, when we send the sheriff out, is that consensual? No. Nobody wants the sheriff kicking in their door and taking their stuff. That is not consensual. Good. Questions about that before we move on? This example shows, the purpose of this question is to very straightforward show you if there's an agreement creating a security interest, it's 9109A1 covered by the statute. Okay. Well, I'll mention a couple of things here and there about what the consequences of that are, but for the most part, that's the rest of the rules. Right? Just right now, we're just asking, is it covered by Article 9? All right. Should I jump around? Would that be better? Really make you nervous? Or going alphabetical order? Hands up if you want alphabetical order. Yeah, your names are at the end of the alphabet, aren't they? Yeah. Well, that wouldn't be fair. Ross Neely.
Oh, yeah.
That's a good one. All right, let's talk about problem 3.
All right, problem 3, we have Brown's Fresh Farm Vegetable Roadside Stand. They sold their accounts receivable to Night Flyer Finance Company. And the next question is that a secure transaction? And I have that it is.
And why do you determine that it is?
According to 909A3, where it says they sell accounts.
Okay. So, this is one of these examples where we have an exception. A2 through 6 are examples of transactions that we might not categorize as consensual agreements creating a security interest, and nevertheless, they include them in the statute. Okay? All right. So, is this an account? How do you know it's an account?
Well, let's say it's an account receivable, so it's people are paying on account for purposes.
It's a very unfair question. It says it's an account. I make this point only because on exams I will say things like, so-and-so sells an account. And then I will have students who will spend a page telling me what an account is. I told you it's an account. Don't tell me what I told you is true. If a problem says something that is a fact, trust the person who wrote the problem. That the fact is a fact, and you don't need to spend 1 second analyzing it. So sometimes I will ask questions where I don't care if you can correctly characterize the collateral as an account. That's not the point of the question. So here, and in any exam I write, if I tell you something is true, it's true. Don't write about it. Seems fair, right? That's a gift to you. You don't have to write about stuff I don't want to, you know. So I'm very good about this. I do not, first of all, I don't get points for it. But I also try very hard to get the essence of what I want you to write about when I write a question, as the Facebook authors do too. So if it says it's an account, trust me, it's an account. Now, an account is the Article 9 way of saying account receivable. They are identical. They are the same thing. We're not going to talk about what is an account today. That's next week. Great. So it's a sale of an account. Why do you think they did this? Why do you think Article 9 is written in such a way that sale of accounts, which are not necessarily consensual security interests, right? Not a transaction intended to create a security interest. Why would it be included?
So probably applying goods for one. I think
Well, an account's not a good. Well, again, that's next week.
okay, but would you say that would be an account for being off purposes of goods?
Oh, so I see what you're saying. So this is a sale of an account, right? Okay. So what's the sale of an account? Let's talk about that. What do you think that means?
I think I'm.
You're a store owner. You have an account with a customer.
Yeah, would you say their accounts receivable, so I'm foreseeing that it would be future earnings?
Yeah, a right to payment, right? An account is a right of payment, an obligation that someone owes to that store. So it's just it's an IOU. That's all it is. Okay. There are two kinds of transactions that we are looking at here. It either be one where they say, hey, I'm granting you a security interest, or B, I'm selling you my account. For some reason, the drafters of the code decided that sales of accounts would be treated like clearly consensual liens on accounts. Why would that be? Yeah. This is the Ratner case all over again. Not Ratner, Ratner, yeah. It's the Ratner case, the secret lien problem. In the lectures I talk about sometimes the code drafters did things for practical purposes, not for, did for practical purposes as well as policy. Here, this is a practical. It's hard to distinguish between a sale of an account and a lien on an account in terms of how the transactions happen. And in particular, accounts are intangibles. So how do you know someone has an account? How would a business record an account?
The books.
You look at the books of the company, right? So they're going to say, what's the debtor's name? What the account holder's name? And the problem is,
Farmer Brown Vegetable.
yeah. So Farmer Brown owns the account, and they've been selling to their customers. So they're going to have in their book, Smith, 50 apples, Jones, 25 pears, right? And they're going to say, owes me, $50, $100, $2,000, whatever. That's what's going to be. But where is that in the book? Where are the books kept?
The offices? I mean, that's
Whose offices?
The companies?
The company who has the account keeps the book in their office.
Right.
So if you're a creditor of a company that has accounts, how would you discover what accounts they have?
You have to audit their financial statements, et cetera, because that's an asset that they have. And
Yeah.
you want to know how much they have, so
Yeah.
when you give them money and stuff.
You would have to physically go look at that book, right? Or if it's on the computer, you have to have access to that computer. There's no obvious way to tell what's going on with these accounts and if they've been assigned. So they made a practical decision in drafting the code, which is we're just going to treat all sales of accounts as subject to Article 9 under 9109A3. Okay? Does that make sense, everybody? I want to make sure you understand. Again, we're going to talk a little bit about the definition of accounts next week. But an account is essentially just a promise, a bare promise to pay money. So that account is very difficult to see and verify, and as you described, audit. So they just said, well, what do we do? We just make it an Article 9 transaction, and that means you have to file a piece of paper with the Secretary of State's office. Everybody knows that the account was sold. Easy. Nobody's confused. Yeah.
So I'm saying the practical administrative side, while we read through these accounts in the light of day, but they're essentially, I'm assuming they're unsecured. Right?
Yes, if it is a secured debt, it is not an account.
Right.
I don't want to get into the weeds on definitions, but by definition, account cannot be a security. Security.
It's just not you.
It's just an IOU. Can IOUs be oral? Yeah, sure, absolutely. There's no formality required for an IOU. Literally, Farmer Brown can write on a piece of paper, you know, Smith owes me $2,000, and that's the only record of the existence of the account, and it's not even signed by Smith. Right? Smith may say, yeah, I never bought that stuff, and then we have a litigation over that.
But what's that? It's sold to a third party. That's what we talking about.
So it's sold to a third party. What does that mean? What does it mean to sell an account to a third party? Mr. Neely, what do you think that means?
To sell an account to a third party, I guess it's
Knife Flyer. When Knife Flyer buys an account, what is it buying?
either buying their debt.
Yeah, essentially we're transferring overpayment from one party, from Farmer Brown over to Knife Flyer. That's all we're doing. That's what a sale of an account is. It's an assignment of the debt obligation over to somebody else. Yeah.
Okay, so there's nothing, like with the other secure transactions, there's nothing that Knife Flyer can go back again. There's nothing that Farmer Brown can default on. And
Right.
Right? Okay.
Correct. There's
So-
no loan.
Okay, so even if these debtors that are on the accounts don't pay Knife Flyer, that has nothing to do with Farmer Brown.
That is another really good question. What's the difference between a security interest in an account and a sale of an account in terms of collection rights? Okay, so here's the difference. If I buy property and then I sell it later, I get to keep all the value from the sale. If I have a security interest in property and I collect on it, I foreclose on it, and I sell it, I only get to keep what I'm owed. Right? So if the account's worth $100, but I'm only owed 50, I got to pay the 50 back to the debtor. Okay, because it was their property and I sold it and I got paid off. I'm owed 50. But if the debtor sold the collateral to the other person, they get to keep everything that they collect on. So that's the difference. And so it's, now it's exactly right. This is the difference between a sale and a loan. A sale is transfer of title, and the person who buys it owns all rights to it. That's not what security is. Notwithstanding that, the drafters of the code included those sales as well. Because of the problem of secret liens, because we don't know, because it's hard to verify the information, they're intangible assets, it's hard to tell. Right? Now, it's not all intangible kinds of property. It's the four that are listed in the subsection. Right, so you've got sale of accounts, child paper, payment intangibles, and promissory notes. So, in a similar way, if there's no loan, but I sell a promissory note, the person who buys the promissory note gets to keep everything that they collect on it. If it's a loan secured by a promissory note, they only get to collect what they're owed, and then they have to pay the difference back. I'm glad you know that. I can assure you we will look at this again under default. Okay, but that's not something you need to know for today. That's just one of the reasons why scope is important. Was there anything else in this question that you had to look at? So the one thing I just want to go back to 109 here and look at the comment and just understand that they explain all this. Right? What I just told you, the drafters of the code explained in comment. Right? It's been successful in avoiding. Right here. Project has been successful in avoiding difficult problems of distinguishing between transactions in which a receivable secures an obligation and those in which a receivable is sold outright. The distinction is blurred. You don't have to understand why it's blurred. Just understand that the way commercial transactions occur, sometimes it's hard to distinguish between the sale and the lien on the account. Good? We're all good here? Any questions about that? And if I said something that you're confused about, ask questions. That's what we're here for. Next week, when you start looking at the materials for next week, we'll have lots of fun figuring out the difference between different kinds, but we're not going to concentrate on that. All right, let's look at problem 4. And how about Mackenzie Horn?
Okay.
Hello, how are you? How's your foot?
It's okay.
All right, sorry, you're not practice. That's no problem.
So the first part, I think it's not a transaction governed by Article 9.
All right, describe it. What is the transaction?
So Dickens agreed not to use any of his property as collateral for debt to other creditors.
So that, and that's the negative pledge part of this?
I guess.
Yes.
Yeah.
So the negative pledge is, I promise I won't give someone else a security interest. I'm pledging not to create a security interest. So you don't think that that's covered by Article 9?
I could be wrong.
No, tell me why.
So honestly, I didn't do the problems. I'm just like remembering from the videos and the reading, so I could be totally off.
Well, let's take a look at, we're looking at 9109A. Does it fall into any description in there? And we're really concentrating on the 4 first sections, 5 and 6. We're not really getting too much.
No?
It's not an agricultural lien, right? A negative pledge is not an agricultural lien, that's obvious. There has to be some kind of farm product involved. Is it an account? Is it a debt? Is a promise not to pledge your collateral a debt?
So it could be a negative promise?
Sure, but is there an obligation, is there an amount of money that's owed?
Yes? No? I don't know.
Well, let's distinguish the promise of the underlying loan from the promise not to create new security interests. And that's the part that we're wondering, right? The loan part is not a security interest at all, right? If you owe money, that's just a debt. So the additional promise is, I agreed not to create new security interests. It doesn't sound like it fits in any of those, does it?
No.
No. So your initial reaction is 100% right. It's not a transaction that creates a security interest. You have to create a security interest or be covered by 2, 3, or 4. It's not a consignment. I don't think it's a sale of anything. You're not selling the right to not create a debt, so therefore there's no sale. That's easy. So I would just work through these. Is it a transaction that creates a security interest? No, it's the opposite. It doesn't create one, it prevents one. It's not an agricultural lien. There's no farm products involved. It's not the sale of an account, a child paper. There's no sale, and it's not a consignment on the definition of those terms. So I think your answer is correct. It's not an Article 9 transaction. How about the second part of this, though?
I want to say that the second part makes the answer yes.
It's a little closer, right?
Yeah.
And what's the language in there that makes you think that maybe it's a security interest?
That he agrees to pay the lender the sum of money, and that would be, I think it makes it a transaction.
It certainly is a transaction, right? I agree with that. But what kind of transaction do we have to have?
That creates a security interest.
Does this create a security interest?
Maybe.
What is a security interest?
I don't remember that part.
Anybody, what is a security interest? Ooh, I stumped you all. Excellent. What's a security interest?
Personal property and fixtures which secures payment or performance.
So it's an interest in personal property which secures repayment, right? Is there a personal property interest here?
No.
No. I'm saying if there isn't, what does that mean?
That it's not a transaction.
It's not a security interest, right? So therefore you're not having a transaction that creates a security interest. So you have to have an interest in property that secures repayment of an obligation in order to have a security interest. We have a contract. There's an agreement here. There's no question about that. The question is does it create a security interest in personal property? Is a promise to find money from someone else a property interest? Could it be a contract right? Could it be a contract right?
No, maybe.
This is a very poorly written agreement if this is an agreement that attempts to create a security interest, right? This is a bad document. And the fact that we have to think about this at all means that the person who wrote this committed malpractice. Because in this area, you shouldn't have to think. You should just have to read and then plug it in, and if it fits, it fits.
In the last sentence of that where it says that he agrees to sell inventory and equipment in order to repay, is it not a security interest because he's not saying that they would get possession of that stuff? Okay.
So the security interest is the right of the creditor, the secured party, to be able to sell the property. And what's the promise that's being made here?
Just that they would come up with some money.
Yeah.
Come up with money somehow.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yes. Now contracts, some kinds of contracts can be personal property subject to Article 9. Child labor is a contract that's subject to Article 9. It's collateral, can be collateral. Okay. This is just such a weird contract that doesn't clearly create, it's not the kind of contract that we would normally see when we have security interest in, because it's not, it's poorly written. Your struggle with this was intended by the authors of the casebook, so you did a great job. I agree with both of your answers. The maybe on the second one, maybe, but it's a weird contract for this one. The promise that you will sell your property so that you can pay off the loan is not a security interest. Sure.
Generally speaking, though, is inventory even really covered under Article 9?
It absolutely is.
Okay.
So let's take a look at on 102, and we're going to see. I'm jumping ahead. This is next week, but you asked a great question, so I just want to make sure I give you an answer. We go to the definition of goods, which is a little bit further down the right. Goods means all things that are movable when a security interest attaches. Okay, and inventory means goods. Yeah. So I'm curious why you asked the question about why. So inventory. So was the promise to sell inventory?
I was kind of looking at notes earlier and I got confused because there was kind of a mix-up with the problem with consignments.
Okay.
Yeah, so I guess we can get to that
We'll
one.
talk about it. Okay, good. All right. You all feel good about this? The answer isn't that no contract can be property subject to a security interest. That's not correct. There are contracts that are absolutely collateral for loans. An example is an account. And that's a contract, right? But this contract is a weird one, and it doesn't seem to fit the pattern of what we're looking at here. So the answer is maybe. If the answer is maybe, can I tell you what you should do? File the document. File an Article 9 financing statement. Just in case a court comes back and says, yeah, it's an Article 9 security interest. You didn't file, you lose. When in doubt, file. That's always the rule. When in doubt, file. That's what a good lawyer will do, is they'll say, I feel queasy about this, therefore I'm going to advise you to file the financing statement. Then you're on the go. Okay. Problem 5. Antiques are us. So how about Jane and Cox?
Okay.
All right.
So the Antique RS store is a crime store. I didn't deal with this problem. So you really want to look into.
I can come back to you next class on one of the problems. Would that be better? Okay, sure. Do I have a volunteer?
Oh, okay.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, sure.
You raised your hand.
Yeah, I had some questions too on 9-102, like on the consignment part, on 20. So, is not an auctioneer? How do we know? Like, so the problem is just tell us if they're an auctioneer, kind of.
All right, so you want to take a look at the definition of consignment.
Yes, sir.
Let's do that. It means a transaction, regardless of its form in which a person delivers goods to a merchant for the purpose of sale. You understand that first part of the?
Yes, sir.
That makes obvious sense.
Yes,
right?
sir.
I'm giving this property to somebody else and saying, here, sell it for me.
Yeah.
Okay.
So, and that's what I feel like.
eBay is kind of a consignment situation, isn't it?
Yeah, okay.
eBay does not own the property. You're giving it to eBay to sell for your benefit. You're still the owner of the property when you put it up on eBay.
And so even if they take part of the money or something.
Yeah.
Okay. And that's how they make money.
So
Okay. So
the financial part of the transaction isn't what's at issue. It's the nature of the relationship with the property, right? The person, right, regardless of its form, when a person delivers goods to a merchant for the purpose of sale, that eBay doesn't, you don't actually send your property to eBay, but I was saying eBay's selling stuff for somebody else.
Yes, sir.
So it's a store where people collect personal property and then they sell it for other people, but they never take title.
Yes, sir.
Okay. So now you're asking about is not an auctioneer.
Yeah, so
Why does that worry you?
Because what they did, if I can't tell, because if it's not an auctioneer, then this, if they are an auctioneer, then this wouldn't be consignment, so it's not
Right.
so it's not Article 9, right?
Right. If they're an auctioneer, Article 9 doesn't apply.
Yes, sir. So and that's
Anybody here ever gone to an auction?
Maybe.
Right. How do we know it's an auction? There's a person who stands up with a gavel, right?
Yeah.
Going once, going twice. That's what an auctioneer is. Okay. It's not a store where the merchandise sits on a shelf. That's not an auctioneer. An auctioneer literally is somebody who stands up in front of a room of people who are thinking of buying property and says, "Okay, I got this wonderful podium here, going for $10. Anybody? 10, 9, $9. That's an auctioneer. That's an auctioneer.
So okay, so in this
So if I
one-
write a problem where there's an auctioneer, you will know because I will give you enough facts to understand that that's what the person's doing.
Perfect. Okay,
Yeah.
yes, sir.
Or I'll say he's an auctioneer.
Because here I kind of had questions about the sale. So Antiques R Us was the largest antique store in the city, and they're well known as a place where antique dealers could basically do consignment stuff, could hire out space so the dealers rent the space and exhibit their items, and then the store handles the sale. So the store does also basically sell the stuff, and then taking a commission, and then the store takes a commission on each and returns the dealers the remaining items. So the dealers get paid though, obviously, right? Okay. And then so the store takes out a loan from Octopus National Bank.
So who's the bad guy here?
Just
Octopus National Bank, right? What are they trying to do? What is Octopus National Bank trying to do in this problem?
to create a security interest.
Well, they're arguing they have a security interest, but what's the problem? What are we worried about here? Who's upset by ONB claiming to have a security interest?
If they have to collect the money, right? Or if they have to,
Yes.
what's it called, defaults.
So whose property are they trying to take?
They want to take Antiques R Us property, right?
Right. And the question is, does Antiques R Us own the property that the dealers are selling?
No, sir. Just the
Okay.
building.
So, if it's a consignment, what does ONB have to do?
Yeah, wait, if it's consignment?
Yes. If it is a consignment, is it subject to Article 9?
Yes.
Yeah. And if they've taken all the steps necessary, they've got the right paperwork, they filed the financing statement, can they take the dealer's property?
I didn't think that they could, but
Well,
but
that's
they-
the interesting question, right?
Okay.
That's why this is at issue, right?
All right.
Can they take the dealer's property? That's the question. ONB is the bank. By the way, banks aren't evil, right? I work for a bank. Bankers are nice people. They deserve to get hugs, right? Anybody here ever work for a bank? Yeah, banks, there's a bunch of nice people in banks, right? The teller at the bank, right? They're not bad people.
You got candy?
The fact that they take your property and sell it, all these things happen.
Yes, sir.
ONB has security interest in the antique store's property. Does the antique store own the things that the dealers are selling?
No, sir.
So that sounds like the OMB is taking somebody else's property that they don't have an agreement with, right?
Yeah.
Feels like theft, doesn't it?
Yes, sir.
Yes. But Article 9 includes consignments, doesn't it?
Yes, sir.
Under what section?
The first part, 1, 2, I don't know. Yeah, 1, 2.
102.
4. Yeah.
So what is a consignment?
It's the giving of goods to someone to sell it, basically.
Yes. Now there are subsections that are exceptions that say even though it is the first sentence applies, then there's things that take it out of that definition. If it's not a consignment, can O&B go after the money? Can go after the property that the dealers are selling at the antiques place?
I want to know.
Absolutely right. So this is the evil with consignments. It's evil in the sense of if you're the person consigning the property, you feel like you've had your stuff stolen, right? If O&B files the right paperwork to cover the property that is located at the antique store, and then Antiques, what's the name of the place?
Antiques R Us.
Antiques R Us doesn't pay, what is O&B going to do? They're going to foreclose on all the property subject to the security interest. Does the security interest cover the goods that are located at Antiques R Us that someone else owns?
Only if they're consignment.
Yes. Antiques R Us does not have title to the property located on its facility. Somebody else owns that property. Even though that's true, Article 9 says it's an Article 9 transaction, and it's subject to the security interest can cover that property. So I own the property, Antiques R Us is selling it for me, and then all of a sudden somebody swoops in and takes it away from me. Yes, you had a question?
I believe when it talks about, if we go back to the definition.
Yeah.
It talks about known by creditors.
Oh, we haven't gotten there. But
Yeah,
what does that mean? So what happens if it's known by creditors to be a place that sells
Takes
things
it out of consignment.
It's still a consignment,
Okay.
but it's not subject to Article 9.
Okay.
It's not an Article 9 consignment.
Yes, sir.
I have a question. Is that where perfection of it comes in, where they found this?
And we have not studied that at all. We don't need to know that for today. All we're talking about is scope. Those are great questions that we will answer. Cross my heart. Because if you don't know the answer to that question, you're not ready for the bar exam. So I'm supposed to get you ready for the bar exam. Yes.
So basically, if bank knows that Antiques R Us deals in consignments regularly, and that property, they could have securities over that property.
There you go. Does everybody get that? Then it would not be a consignment under Article 9. It falls out of the definition of consignment. The problem is, remember the secret lien problem, right? If I'm a bank and I go into the store and I'm lending to Antiques R Us and I look around and I go, man, they got a lot of stuff. Tons of collateral. How much money do you need? I'm only looking at $100,000. Turns out, other people own that stuff. And I don't have to deal with it. I'm the bank. Have I been misled by Antiques R Us? By the structure of its operation? Yeah. So how does Article 9 protect people under those circumstances? Well, one, if I'm a creditor and I know this is a consignment operation, I can't go, oops, I didn't know. I'm not allowed to do that. Also, does it cover consumer consignments? The definition of consignment doesn't include consumer consignments. No, so the average citizen doesn't have to worry about Article 9. Does it cover low value consignments? No, so if these things are worth $50, they're not covered. So it's merchants who sell high value items through consignment and a person who doesn't, who creditors do not know they're selling stuff on consignment, is not an auctioneer. And what's the last one? There's 3 subparts to that. Exclusion. Sorry? Right, it doesn't create a security interest. Yeah. It's not a security interest. Right.
The creditor, when you're trying to show that it should have been filed under Article 9.
And who should file?
The store.
Yeah, we haven't answered that question yet, but I'll give it to you. So here's the answer. In order, in a consignment situation, to protect yourself, if you're the consignor, the owner of the property being sold on consignment, you file an Article 9 financing statement, and that lets creditors know you're that. It's your property, not the store's property. But we haven't done this yet. This is just scope. Okay? We will come back to all of this. These are all great questions. Today we just want to know, is it covered? So the answer is no, because the creditors know that this is a company that does consignments. Questions about that? Did that answer your question? You said when we got to the question on consignments that you were confused. Did we get you an answer that works for you? And this is the question you got.
Well, no, actually, since I don't know.
Oh, okay. All right. Everybody good? You bet. Go ahead.
Well, you said like if the creditors know it's a place that's essentially not covered by Article 9.
It's not a consignment for everybody. It may still be a consignment. It's not a consignment for which. So remember, who is it that has to protect them? And how do they protect themselves if they're worried that it's consignment? They file finance statements. Okay? They put a piece of paper on public notice. O&B comes along and they see this document and it says the property that's located at Antiques R Us, not owned up by Antiques R Us. Now O&B can't say didn't know because they do know. It's not, they have constructive notice.
So if they don't, if the person that has the title doesn't file that paper,
They lose their property.
and what would only have to say we didn't know about the place that's engaged?
Yes, and that would be in the litigation between the person who delivered the property and O&B. Antiques R Us couldn't care less. In fact, the more of somebody else's property that's used to pay off the loan, the better for Antiques R Us. They get the people. They're like, yay. Antiques R Us is not concerned about this.
So I have a question about consumer goods.
Yes.
I have a definition of consumer goods. What's an example of something that would not be a consumer good?
Everything that falls outside of the definition of consumer goods. That's terrible, right? A farm product would not be a consumer good. Inventory would not be a consumer good. Next week. Starting tonight, you'll look at the video, you'll learn how to make that. Yeah, next week.
So would that be, like, if somebody has a hobby business where they, like...
We got a question next week about this? Yes, great. Yes, exactly. Yes. I don't want to spend too much time on this because we are. These are great questions. Next class we'll answer.
So the question was just a little wordy, and you did hit it though. So it just says that if the dealers have never taken the steps required. So if they didn't take the steps required, banks could go O&B could go after the stuff in the store. Yeah, okay.
What they do is they foreclose on the stuff in the store that somebody else owns. They sell it, and it pays off the loan to them. Yay. The money. Now, who is the debtor in that situation? Would Antiques R Us be the debtor about this property?
About the property that's not theirs?
Yeah.
Yes,
And also the owner, right? If you own the stuff, you have an interest in the property?
Yes.
So there are rules about who gets extra money if the debt is paid off and there's extra money lying around. So you may not get zero, you may get some after the sale. We haven't studied those rules yet. Okay, but you know, it's not necessarily a complete disaster, it's a very bad outcome. But understand, since it doesn't cover consumer goods, the people who we're talking about here that are worried about this rule are merchants or businesses. So should we expect businesses to be more sophisticated about how this stuff works? Yeah, why are we feeling sad for Amazon and Walmart and places like that? Well, I don't care.
So because there's that statement in there in this question that says well known as a place, are we supposed to say that even if they didn't file under Article 9, it should be okay?
Yes, because under the definition of consignment, it's not covered. That's exactly right. Okay. What is a consignment? We will talk. I have a lecture on, so you will get this again for next week. But this is just generally speaking. Okay, so that was problem 5. Thank you. Problem 6. Who here is this? I'm happy to take a Star Wars fan here. Luke Skywalker, anybody a Star Wars fan? Okay, here we go.
Alex Bowers.
Yeah.
So I don't think this is a good time to talk about Article 9 because of the Bejeweled Sword, which is probably too.
So say that again, explain, can you start over again?
Okay, so Luke Skywalker has this Bejeweled Sword that he wants to sell, and for it to be covered by Article 9, it has to be worth more than $1,000 and a consumer, not a consumer good. And although it's worth more than $1,000, a Bejeweled Sword is a consumer good, so it's not covered by it.
And let's start with this principle. The general scope of the kind of transaction we're talking about is consignment, so it is covered by 9109A4, but the definition is exclusive. Yeah. Everybody see that? I thought he was in the Rebel Alliance. Doesn't that make him? Maybe it's not a consumer good. Maybe it's his weapon.
Yeah, I guess it's.
Maybe it's equipment. Sounds a little weird, but could be, right? Luke Skywalker, an artisan who crafted his wares. Is he a consumer?
I thought he wasn't.
Well, he's in the business of making swords.
So I guess maybe he himself is it, but people buying like the sword and stuff would be.
Ah, no.
No. Okay. I don't know.
No, and you don't know this yet. And the reason is that we figure out what the good is in the hands of the person who is creating the interest. So he's an artisan. If he's an artisan who makes swords, is this a consumer good to him?
No.
It's his inventory. So is it over $1,000? Do people generally know that this company operates as a consignment seller?
Yeah.
Well, what are the problems there? Is WoW generally understood by its creditors as being?
I believe so. I wasn't paying one, but I think it was.
What page is it from?
27. I don't see that in anywhere. It says with mostly sold items, so yeah, yes.
So is it covered?
No, I'm turning around. Yes.
Yes, it's covered. Is that what did everybody get? It was an Article 9 consignment. Yeah. I think, and the problem, and the reason they said he was an artisan is to let you know that he's not holding it for personal, family, or household purposes. If he's a collector who doesn't resell, then it's a person, then it's a consumer. But he makes them and sells them. That makes it inventory. Yeah. He's a merchant. Would we expect him to know that he has to file an Article 9 financing statement in order to protect himself? Yeah, unfortunately we do. Small businesses are covered by this as much as large businesses. Yes?
So for right now, it would have been okay if we said, we didn't know if it was a consumer good or not, we just said if it was, then this, if it was not a consumer good.
By the end of the semester, you will be able to answer that question because he's an artisan, and that's the trick, right? He's somebody who makes these, not for personal use, for sale. And I have to give you those facts, right? If I don't say that, how can you possibly know? So I have to tell you this. So no, it may happen that I write a question and I forget to do a good job explaining something, then your answer is exactly right. I can't tell, and there are two different outcomes. Hopefully and maybe that's what I was testing. See the difference. If I tell you, just go for what I say. So here it says artisan, that means he's not a consumer. For him, this is not a consumer. All right, thank you. And you are? Let's look at problem 7. How about Lucas Taylor? Hi. Let's do problem 7.
So in this one, Big Machines has leased a user credit copy or county print shop. I believe for 5 years, no payments of deal to equal the current market price. At the same time, county print shop borrowed money from the bank and signed security interest. And then the print shop went under, and the bank had to put all the print shop's equipment, which included the printer. But now it's battle between the bank and Big Machines to determine who gets the machine. So right now, I'm leaning towards, I would think the bank would get it just because they would want to probably file where Big Machines did not make it, therefore.
In order to get there, you have to make a decision about the underlying transaction we're talking about. And there's two possibilities. It is structured as, what is the name on the top of the document? There's a contract about, it says lease. Do we believe people when they write it's a lease? Yes. Well, so the answer is maybe, right? And that's what the point of 1203 is, right? So on page 29, there's a nice little summary of how 1203 works. I think if you understand the summary, you get the gist of how this works. Was it a lease? Was it a true lease? If it's a true lease, it's subject to Article 9. No. Correct. So here's what happens. Debtor has two contracts. Loan with a bank with a security interest that covers equipment, and it has a lease with a company that leased them the copier. If it's a true lease, can the bank take the copier to pay off the loan? If it's so, do you understand that? And that's because who owns the copier? In a true lease, the personal property is owned by the lessor. So it shouldn't be the case that someone else can swoop in and take their property, right? It's just like the consignment situation. But we don't know. It could be a lease intended for security. Why would somebody sign a lease and in their mind go, but it's really security interest? Why would they do that? In the reading, do they explain, so what law governs whether or not we can structure a transaction as a lease or security? Lease at worst six. Yeah, is there a law that one is preferable over another? I chime in. Tax law. If you lease property, you get to deduct the payment of the lease against your current income. If you buy property, you can only depreciate it over time, so your deduction is less obvious, less clear, less straightforward. Okay? So there's tax reasons why you might structure something as a lease. In addition, the IRS might respect something as a lease, even if it's intended to be a sale with security. They might say, did you put lease on the top? Okay, you're good. And they won't ask any more questions. But in Article 9, we can't be that flippant. We have to ask more questions. So the question here is, was this a lease intended as security or a true lease? And how do we know if it's a lease intended for security or a true lease? Well, we have to examine. I just called on you, and I cannot remember who you are. Lucas Taylor. I called on you, and I forgot your name. How bad is that? That is just ridiculous. It's distressing for me that I can't remember. Okay, so is it a lease, true lease, or is it a lease intended for security? How do we do the analysis?
Well, there are 3 factors here that are developed.
All right, and so let's work through this. Tell me whether you think that this is a true lease.
So the first one, at the end of the period, the leasing becomes the owner's property for whatever duration of the secure transaction, which that's not the case.
Let's look at the statute because I think this is also helpful. So 1203, which is the section on leases, says a transaction in the form of a lease creates a security interest, right? So we're going to say we don't trust the form, we're looking at the substance. You have the consideration that the lessee is to pay to the lessor for the right of possession and use of goods is an obligation for the term of the lease and is not subject to termination. Is this one subject to termination? Okay. And we need something else. Second, the original term of the lease is equal to or greater than the remaining economic life of the goods.
That's not. I'm trying to give you a yes.
Or how about 4? The lessee has an option to become the owner of the goods for no additional consideration or for nominal additional consideration upon compliance with the lease agreement. How much do they have to pay to own it at the end of the lease?
Oh, the market price?
Yeah, what do they have to pay in this problem?
I guess it's the market price over, oh, sorry, no, $5.
It's $5 nominal. What does it mean for a consideration to be nominal? Do you recall that from your contract slide?
I don't know if it's $1.
I can tell you $1 is always nominal. For a major commercial copier, is $5 nominal. So we get there under 1203B4. They can't terminate early, and there's nominal consideration. That means this is a security agreement, not a lease. What does that mean? As between the two creditors, who wins? Did they file any documents? So they didn't comply with Article 9, so who wins? Yeah. And we haven't studied priority yet, but that's the consequence. If it's a lease actually intended for security, that means you have to follow Article 9. If you follow Article 9, you have to file a piece of paper. If you don't file a piece of paper, you're unsecure, you're unperfected. If you're unperfected, the perfected secured party beats the unperfected secured party. You will learn this and know this later, but that's what we're talking about, okay? For now, we're just asking, is this a true lease or not? Okay? Does that make sense? Or questions about this?
If not, then unprotected, then what else?
If it's a true lease, then there's no, you don't have to file. Okay. If it's a lease intended for security, it's an Article 9 security interest, and you have to file.
And then if you don't, you're unprotected.
You're unperfected.
Oh, unperfected.
Yeah,
Okay.
no, that's fine. You don't know the terminology here, but that's the terminology. You're unperfected. Yes?
In the third factor that it had for determining if it was a lease, like
Yeah.
a lease or not, it says, if agreement is for entire economic life of goods with or without renewal, this is a disguised sale?
Yes.
What does that mean?
So they're not actually leasing the property, they're actually selling it, and they're calling the sale a lease.
But that's not a security transaction.
It is. If they're trying to claim the security, if they're trying to claim the right to get the property back, it's not actually a lease, so they don't get to get it back because they own it. The only way they can get it back is to foreclose. The lease is rewritten, in essence, as a security agreement, and under Article 9, the only way you can get your property in order to pay off the loan is to foreclose. Or let me say it a different way. The lease agreement, does everybody agree that the lease has a monthly or quarterly payment associated? We're essentially saying that's not a lease payment, it's a debt payment. That there isn't a lease, it's a sale and a security interest. A sale with a loan and a security interest. Does that make sense, everybody? Okay, good. Yeah.
So if big machines had filed Article 9, then
They would have had file. Think of it this way, in the mortgage area, you can have a first mortgage, a second mortgage, and a third one, right? But if you don't file the mortgage document with the registry of deeds, does another mortgagor, another mortgagee have a right to say, I didn't know about you and I can foreclose first? Yes, that's essentially what it says in the rules, two totally other rules. Good, we're moving along here, right? Problem 8. What's the difference between problem 7 and problem 8? Again, looking at the factors on page 29. How about Alexis, Laura? Yes. What do you think is the difference between 7 and 8?
Well, I wrote down the life of the machine. So, in problem 8, it says it has a 10-year life typically, we have over 5 years, so that would be
So it has a life that extends beyond the term of the lease, so that sounds like it's a true lease, doesn't it? What do you feel about the $10,000 payment?
Well, I just remember anything about nominal, but I said here, choose your market price of the machine, which is $300, and $10,000 is nominal.
Sorry, I'm just going to close the door. So that's interesting, right? Is $10,000 nominal? So we read a case where we discussed this issue. Wasn't it $78,000 was the payment? And they said it's not conclusively not nominal because what's the value of the property left over? So here we start talking about economics. So if for $10,000 you can get a $20,000 piece of equipment, is that essentially a nominal payment? Would you ever say no to that transaction? No. So what they're saying is no with the economics of it. It may be that this is a big number, but relative to the value of the collateral, it's a very small number. You would pay it because you'd be stupid not to. Okay. So there are circumstances in which a number that is not small is still nominal. Does that make sense, everybody? And the way we determine that is what's the economics of the transaction. Essentially, 1203 is asking what was the economic deal that was made. And we're not economists, and we're not experts in leasing. So what do you need to know? You need to know that this is out there. That if I give you a document and it's called a lease, alarm bell should be going off, going, oh my gosh, is this a security interest or not? And understand how to apply the test. If I include a number like $10,000, I think you go, I can't tell. I need more evidence. If I include a number like $1 or $5 or $10 and it's an expensive piece of equipment, that's nominal, right? I'm not going to try and trick you on it. So if I want you to talk about, go look at the economics, I'll pick a big number and say, you'll have to go, well, I can't tell, given the economics of the transaction. If I say $1, it's nominal. And if I don't care for you to do extended analysis on this, that's what I would do. I would put $1. If I just want you to say, oh, it's called a lease, it's really a security interest, okay? I will not ask you to do high-level economic analysis on a test I will not ask you to do high-level economic analysis. I will give you numbers that allow you to make an argument, okay? But I think your answer is correct. I can't tell. And that's what the court said in the case, right? They said, $78,000 is a lot of money, but maybe the thing's worth $378,000. Well, of course you spend 78 to get 378. We don't know. We need more evidence. That's what the court said in the case. All right. Oh my gosh, I have 7 minutes left, and we have some problems to do. I will tell you, I was worried that I would have too much time and be done in 20 minutes, and I'm seeing that I was wrong on that, which is good. So on problem 9, I'm just going to tell you what the answer is. All right. Problem 9 is a subjugation question, and the purpose of this question is just to identify that subjugation is something that's out there. A subrogation could be a security interest. I'm not going to test on this. The problem's there. I'm just going to tell you that it could be a security interest. I know you probably spent a lot of time trying to figure this out, but because of the amount of time, I'm not going to write a problem where subrogation is that issue. I find that too complicated. It makes my head hurt, so I'm not going to test it. Right? But they wanted the casework authors wanted you to know that these kinds of issues do come up either way. All right, problem 10. Now we're talking about exclusions from Article 9. So how about, and that was, I'm going to call on somebody over here. Michaela?
Yes.
Hello, how are you?
I didn't do the problem.
How about I call you back next time? We'll work on it. All right. Pete, how you doing? Let's work on problem 10.
So for problem 10, I had unknown because cases conflict, as this was intellectual property.
Gotcha. Tell me a little bit about it.
So you have Pollution Solutions, who took out a loan, and for their collateral, they use copyrights, patents, and trademarks with the bank. So it asked where they should file.
Yes.
And so I just had don't know, ask question on that part. And then,
Excellent.
but then for the rest of it, there was a note earlier in the reading about intellectual property, and that there was conflicting cases, and it just kind of depends if you can use it as collateral or not.
Once again, this is an area where federal law clearly preempts state law when it does. But Article 9 in 9109C1 says it only conflicts. We only allow it to conflict. Sorry, let me say this differently. Article 9 only steps back from the law where it clearly conflicts, and then Article 9 takes it. So what this means is, and I said in my presentation, the document to create the security interest covered by Article 9. The place where you file to perfect the security interest in Article 9 in copyrights, probably the copyright statute. And that's because if the copyright is registered, there's a system of recording registrations in copyright. And then they created a record, a system for recording transfers of any interest in a copyright. So they created a filing system. So if the federal government creates a filing system, which filing system do you use? The state one or the federal one? No, both. Yes, probably the court's going to say, for a registered copyright, they're going to say, this is the system you use. Is there any problem? We're going to say, no, you file in state one, two, doesn't matter. But there are cases all over the map on this. Is there a system for recording interest in patents? Yes, there is. Does it talk about security interests? It does not. It is a very poorly written statute as with regards to security interests. It talks about, I think, patent mortgages, or at least patent mortgages are a kind of security interest that existed, but it's not clear, and there are cases all over the map on this. Under the FAA Act, where do you file an interest in a plane? This was the case, right? Where do you file? If the security interest covers an airplane, where do you file?
With the FAA.
With the FAA. In Omaha, Nebraska, by the way, is where it's located. It's the only place you file. Security interests are no good if you're not filing in Omaha. Okay? With registered copyrights, Copyright Office. With patents, probably the Patent Office. But trademarks, probably not. So the point here is, and we'll come back to filing systems later, that under C1 there are going to be circumstances where federal law steps in and creates, and in my opinion, a very crappy system of filing, but it still preempts. Crappy or not, it's the one you have to use, and that's the point of the question. All right, we have 2 minutes. Should we just save the last few for the beginning of next class, or do you want to talk about B? I'm sorry, problem 11 in part B. I think we can do that one pretty quickly. So how about, let's see, Adam Hibbets?
I think get that part, no
All right, I'll call on you next time then, all right? And then Dylan Cars? No, okay. Anna Cervera? Hi. So let's just do this one quickly. I don't think it's going to be too complicated.
So I don't think Article 9 applies in this case.
And why do you think that?
Because under 909D1, it says that anyone seen is Article 9 is the right?
Okay. Pretty simple, right? That was easy. And Article 9 does not cover landlords. What's a landlord zone? Did you look it up? Did anybody look it up? Did I mention it in the lecture? What is it? This is kind of evil.
So it's where they can take your personal property, or the landlord can take your personal property and person using from them if they default on their payment.
So if you ditch it, don't pay your rent. They go into your property, they take your bed, they take your computer, they take your lounge chair, sell them, and pay off your rent. Now, what if the lease agreement said, to secure repayment, to guarantee payment of the rent, renter grants a security interest in all personal property located at the name of the place. Is that an Article 9 security interest? Why? What's the difference? There we go. A landlord can create a consensual security interest in property located at the rental property, but they have to do it by contract. If it arises by operation of law, not covered by Article 9. Okay, I will go over the remainder. We have like 5 problems left in this chapter. I'll go through them quickly at the beginning of next class. A couple of you, I'll be calling on next class. So just be ready. You feeling good about this stuff?
Yeah. Sorry for choking off.
You feeling good about this?